Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the regular August meeting of the Concord Zoning Board of Adjustment. Our usual procedure is to take the cases in which they appear on the agenda and to invite the appellants to come forward, give us whatever testimony they would like us to hear, be sworn in, give us whatever testimony they would like us to hear, and then to retire back to their seats, and we will then solicit testimony from anyone who is in favor of the appeal and anyone who is in opposition of the appeal, to the appeal. We will also check in with code enforcement, or excuse me, planning. It's too many years of saying code enforcement. We will check in with planning and see if there are any comments from their office that we ought to hear, and then if anything has been offered that appears to bear factual clarification, the appellant will have the opportunity to offer that clarification, not new arguments, prior to our closing the public testimony portion of the hearing. Under most circumstances, we will act on each case prior to moving on to the next. We ask that the appellants, when they make their presentation, confine themselves to 10 minutes, and we ask that those members of the audience who wish to be heard confine themselves to 5 minutes. We do have a couple of things that I should bring to your attention. One, the first item on the agenda is not it's a request for rehearing. We handle those a little differently, and I'll explain that in a moment. And the other is we have two cases tonight where we will only have a 4-member board due to my recusal from those two cases. One is case 4.1, Martha Lemire on behalf of Kimball Jenkins, and the other is 4.7, I believe, Michael Gaffrere, requesting a variance. You can have both. Is there someone here? I see Mr. Gaffrere is here. Is there someone here from Kimball Jenkins? Ah, there we are. I see them too. You have the option of being heard tonight, or you can have your hearing deferred to a 5-member board in the event that you're heard by a 4-member board and the appeal goes down. It is not grounds for a rehearing. Would either of you want to be heard by a 5-member board rather than a 4-member board? Okay. All right, then we'll proceed in the usual way. The first item is a request for a hearing, but first I should actually, well, it's second bullet, but so I don't forget about it. Could I get a motion on determination of regional impact?
Sure, Riley. Before we do that, I just need you to appoint Ms. Perkins as a voting member for this evening.
Welcome aboard, Ms. Perkins.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep, that's it.
Now you're good. Sorry.
Can I hear a motion for a determination that none of the cases that we are going to hear tonight is of regional impact?
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. We will proceed. The first item then is a request for a rehearing. Our procedure under request for rehearings is different from a regular hearing. We do not take testimony. All the testimony is written testimony. And the board, the criteria under which a board will grant a request for a hearing is if the board believes, as a result of the information that's been submitted to us, that there's either new information that is germane to our decision that we did not have access to before, or that we have made an error in law or procedure. And as I said, we do not normally take public testimony. In the event that we do grant a rehearing, we do have the power to limit the scope of the rehearing to certain issues. In the event that we don't, the status of the case doesn't change. So the first request for a rehearing is Heather Shank has requested a rehearing for the granting of ZBA case 0390-2026, unaddressed Spruce Street, which had requested a variance from section 2852 duplex or two-family to allow for a duplex to be built on a lot with less than the required standard of 1.5 times the lot frontage and 91 for 91.5 feet of frontage where 112 feet is and a half is required, and 1.5 times the lot size of 10,018 where 11,250 square feet is required on tax map 7443Z lot 88, located at an unnumbered vacant lot on Spruce Street in the downtown residential district. Did all the members of the board have a chance to review the memorandum that was submitted?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start with Mr. Wallner and ask him if he saw anything in the information that constituted grounds for rehearing based on the criteria that I just recited.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I didn't see that we made any errors on this case, nor did I see any new information.
Mr. Monahan?
I agree.
Mr. Winters?
Yeah, I think that, Ms. Schenk is a zealous advocate and, put forth a somewhat similar argument, with regard to whether a site plan should have been proposed and considered, but we already reviewed that. There's towards the end of her memo, she discusses comments made by members during the deliberations, and I'm not saying they're inaccurate, I honestly don't remember, but I would say if this ever is reviewed by, again, I wouldn't rely just on these paraphrases. I think I would reflect back to the minutes of what exactly was said in the right context, because I think that could be important.
Very good. Ms. Perkins?
Based on what I've read, as I was not here in May, I don't see that anything was done incorrectly. I do have a question, like number 2, does it say that the board approved?
Yes, they approved the variance.
They approved the variance?
Yeah, it was.
She's in the butter.
Oh, she's in a butter, okay.
Right.
All right, so now I understand it a little bit better. Okay, thank you.
The board approved, some of the neighbors did not.
Yeah, that happens.
All right. I reviewed the information and did not see any grounds for a rehearing either. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I move to deny the request for a rehearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. The next case I will be recusing myself from, that's 4.1, Martha Lemire, and Mr. Wallner will take over the chairmanship for the hearing.
And I'm going to do it from here since I have all this gear set up here. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next case before us is case number 4.1, Martha Lemire on behalf of Kimball Jenkins, Inc. requests a variance from section 28-6-8A1, signs permitted in residential districts, permitted signs, to allow for 2 signs of up to 20 square feet in area for each conforming principal non-residential use where only one is allowed at tax map 641Z lot 19 located at 266 North Main Street, the neighborhood residential RN district. And do we swear to tell truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome to tonight's meeting.
Thank you.
What would you like us to know?
I'm Joe Spam, a trustee at the Kimball Jenkins Estates, and this is Martha Lemire, the executive director. Just a couple of tidbits about the estate. We're at a very difficult location. We're at the end of 393, and also you have to take a quick right-hand turn to North Main Street, or you're met by Booton Street, which is highly traveled. So we have a very difficult time with our identification. Presently, we only have a small little sign at the entrance, which we're going to be changing that out. So we feel strongly that the variance is not contrary to the public interest. The proposed sign would contribute to the public interest by enhancing safety and convenience. It would not be visible along the streetscape of the residential neighborhood, historic district in which KJ sits. It's a clear benefit for increased safety. Right now, again, we have a lot of folks that only can use Google Map. There's nothing else there to identify the location. And furthermore, we do not feel that the 2 signs will diminish the value of the residential properties. In fact, the entrance sign that we're proposing to build will have granite posts. It's going to be a carved sign. It's going to be of higher quality. The sign on the south face of the yellow house will only be viewed by or from 393. So the residents of North Main Street will not even be seeing this sign from their residences. We met with the Historic Commission approximately a month ago. They requested that the outline of the sign be changed from a Kelly green to a dark green, which would match the shutters. They also requested that it be lowered approximately by 2 feet, so it was better seen from the vehicles. And we feel that it would be an unnecessary hardship if this is not approved, simply because we want that identification. We've got to have better exposure for, again, the safety of the public. We also feel that the proposed sign is in scale with the proposed location, is in keeping with the building in which it will hang. The sign on the yellow house it's larger due to the traffic. I mean, we have a very difficult location there. Over the past 2 years, Martha has done a tremendous job bringing exposure to the campus. This past holiday season, we had over 6,000 visitors to the campus. And of the 6,000 folks that visited, only 60% knew of the campus. Only 60, did not know of the campus.
Did not know, yes.
Did not know. At every event, Martha takes a poll to find out who understands or is knowledgeable about the estate, and most are not. So, again, we're looking for the approval of these 2 signs to give us better identification, exposure, and help us to enhance the program that Martha has established.
And what I passed around earlier is the revised sign where it would be placed on the yellow house facing 393 that was approved by the Heritage Commission.
Any questions from members of the board?
No.
Just a quick question. So you currently have a sign on the North Main Street side that's been existing, and you want to just add one more sign on the 393 side?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. The sign that's at the entranceway, we'd like to put it closer to the granite wall, and that's where the variance is needed. If we push it back roughly 3 feet from the wall, the variance is not. We're approved to reinstall that sign.
Okay, the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the entrance sign, we're looking for variance to move it closer to the granite wall. The variance is, the one variance that is truly needed is for the sign on the yellow house.
But we only have one variance request in front of us, which is to allow 2 signs where only one is allowed. So do you need a variance to move the current sign? Or you're just saying that's part of your plan?
Correct.
You can do that regardless,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Yes.
I understand. Got it.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who'd like to be heard in favor of this request? Is there anyone who is opposed to this request? Comments from code?
None.
I'm sorry, comments from planning.
Incoming code, that's fine.
And with
I'll
that, I'll declare
respond.
the hearing closed, and comments from our Brenda?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. I'm very familiar with the location, and I think the location is the hardship to allow for the additional signage. And it is honestly in keeping with the end of 393, because you've got like 2 businesses right across the street with similar signage, down lower, but similar signage, so it's no problem.
Yeah, I agree. It's at a very unique intersection because it's where a highway basically becomes an urban road very suddenly, and so a lot of cars drivers who are from Concord, but a lot of cars who aren't from Concord or that familiar with Concord are going to be slightly disoriented coming into town and sort of transitioning. So I agree.
Mr. Monahan?
I agree with Alex.
And so do I. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion, if anybody wants to present one.
I'll move to grant the variance from section 2868A1 to allow for 2 signs of up to 20 square feet in the area for each conforming principal non-residential use where only one is allowed at tax map 641/Z lot 19, 266 North Main Street in the neighborhood residential district, because all the criteria under RSA 67433 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's findings of fact, including tonight's representation of the size and location of the sign on the yellow building.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous. I'll give that to you.
Thank you.
I like this guy too.
Thank you, Mr. Wallner.
You're welcome.
Next case is case number 4.2 on the agenda. Jake Duggan, on behalf of Yama's Greek Eatery, requests a variance from signs permitted for an addition, to allow for an additional 14 square feet of signage at Lot 18, located at 25 South Main Street on the Central Business Performance, in the Central Business Performance District. This is EZBA case 0447-2026. Is Mr. Duggan here, or anyone else from the Yama's Greek Eatery? I do not see anyone. All right, what we'll do is pass over that case, and if they arrive later, we'll come back to it. The next case is 4.4, Orr and Reno, on behalf of Knight Brothers Development, LLC. They are requesting a variance to allow for 9,135 square feet, where 15,000 square feet is required, and a variance from section
4.3.
28,
What about,
It's withdrawn.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
where was I?
Apologize.
You were at square feet.
Oh, square feet, of course. Let's start over. It's Orr and Reno on behalf of Knight Brothers Development, LLC. They're requesting a variance from the regulations concerning a duplex or two-family dwelling to allow for 9,135 square feet, where 15,000 square feet is required, and a variance from 2841D1 to allow the front deck steps to encroach into the front setback approximately 3.5 feet, where the maximum encroachment is 2 feet, and all of this would take place at 30 Pennacook Street in the Urban Transitional UT District. This is case 0450. Gentlemen, you swear to tell the truth and nothing but.
Yes.
Would you identify yourselves for the record as you testify, please?
John Arnold from Orr and Reno.
My name's Chris Knight.
What would you like us to know?
All right, so property up on the screen, this is 30 Pennacook Street. It's across the street from the Boys and Girls Club and kind of right in front of the former Rite Aid Merrimack County Savings Bank behind it here. It's a corner lot. It's in the UT district. There's a single-family home on the property. You can see in the aerial. The house has fallen into disrepair. The city took it for taxes in 25, then deemed it uninhabitable. The Knight brothers bought the property with the hopes of demolishing the existing home, building a new duplex on the property. We're asking for 2 variances tonight. The first variance is a lot size variance. The property is about 9,100 square feet. The minimum lot size in the district is 10,000 square feet, and for a duplex, that gets multiplied by 1.5 times, so 15,000 square feet for a duplex. But being 9,100 square feet, it's undersized for any use, so it's a non-conforming lot regardless of the use that would go on it.
So it would require 10,000 for a single family, technically?
Yep.
And because the current structure has to be demolished, that would be a variance required regardless?
That's what the city has advised, yep, that we can't do anything with it, without a variance. So I'll jump into the criteria on the public interest and the spirit of the ordinance. A duplex on an undersized lot won't alter the essential character of the locality. There's at least 2 other duplexes within a stone's throw of this property that are on similarly sized lots. See if I can get back to the, I don't know if it's going to show on this aerial. Give me 1 second. So 26 Pennacook Street, which is right here, virtually the same size lot with a duplex on it. It's about 9,500 square feet. It's not shown on this image, but right over by where the mouse is across the street, 39 Pennacook Street has a duplex on it, and that's a little over 11,000 square feet. We're not aware of any public safety health issues that have arisen from those being on undersized lots in the neighborhood. We don't think a duplex here would pose any of those risks either. On the substantial justice, under the balancing test, the variance won't harm the public. We actually think that there'll be a public benefit here by taking down a house that's been deemed uninhabitable, putting up a new duplex. It's going to provide additional housing opportunities for the city. And the benefit to the applicant is substantial. To your point, any use of the property would require a variance, so the variance is necessary for the use. We don't think there'll be any negative impact on property values. Also relates to the fact that the house on the property is in disrepair and will come down. Something new will go up and make the area look nicer and certainly be more useful. And on the hardship, the lot's undersized. We can't do anything about that. It is what it is. It's also in an interesting part of the city. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's really in a transitional part of the district, even in the UT district, being across the street from the Boys and Girls Club, and then abutting commercial property to the rear. And with the other duplexes in the area on similarly sized lots, I really don't think there's a substantial public purpose that would be served by strictly applying that requirement to this property. But moreover, I think we also meet the alternative hardship test, which is that the property can't be reasonably used without a variance. And as I mentioned, the city determined that any redevelopment of this property will require a variance. The house on the property isn't habitable, so there's going to be some redevelopment required in any event, and a duplex is allowed by right in the district, so we think that's a reasonable use and a reasonable ask. So that's it for the first variance on lot size. The second variance is a setback variance. And the setback variance is that the ordinance allows porches and steps to encroach up to 2 feet into a setback. Here, what we're showing on the front of the house, right where the mouse is, the front steps encroach into the front setback by about 3.5 feet. So it's about 1.5 feet further than they're supposed to go into that front setback. On the first two criteria, this won't alter the essential character of the area or threaten public safety, health, or welfare. If you look at the plan here, where I have the mouse, you can see the faint outline for the existing house. And the existing house has a substantial encroachment into the front yard. The house itself encroaches about 8 feet into the front setback, and the front steps, which are shown right here, come right up basically to the property line. So even though we're proposing an encroachment of about 18 inches into the front setback, it's going to be a dramatic improvement compared to what's there for the setbacks. And in that sense, it's not going to alter the essential character of the locality or threaten public safety or welfare. It's going to improve conditions with respect to both. Substantial justice, the same rationale applies. We're greatly improving the existing front setback, which I think provides a public benefit. It's going to be more compliant with the zoning. And the benefit to the applicant is that it allows this porch and front steps to be on the front of the property, or on the front of the building.
And it looks like you're doing the driveway over on Bradley Street and not off of Pennacook.
That's right. So this is the existing curb cut, and this is where the driveway comes in right now. And so the building is situated, as you can see, kind of in front of that curb cut to allow a driveway for each one of the units.
But one curb cut still.
Yep, one curb cut, just 2 branches off of it. We don't think the setback variance is going to impact property values negatively either. Again, new construction here, taking down a home that's in disrepair and also increasing the setback that exists today, all of which will be positive impacts on the neighborhood. On the hardship, you can see that the lot is very narrow, so the building proposed right here is right up against the back property line. It can't be shifted back any further to make up this 18 inches in the front without going into the back setback. And you might ask, why don't we just remove this front porch and push the steps back a little bit to make up that 18 inches? And for full transparency, I think we could do that. The reason why the porch and the steps are shown here in the front is because aesthetically, it makes the building look a lot better from the street. And I know there was a lot of discussion, I think, on the rehearing request that you addressed first tonight, kind of building aesthetics, having a larger duplex building and the impact that would have visually on the area. And so not only does the porch in the front provide, I think, a reasonable amenity for the house, but it also breaks up that front facade and will make the whole development look better from the street. And ultimately, I think we're talking about a very minor encroachment here, 18 inches into the front setback, so we weighed that, and we thought that that minor setback encroachment outweighed any negative impacts from, or the benefits of the amenities outweighed any negative impacts of encroaching slightly into that setback. So that's the summary of the two variances. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them or address any of the criteria in more detail if you like.
Questions from the board?
So are you reusing the existing foundation? Because it's bigger than that.
No, different foundation. So you can see on the plan here, the existing house is up here, this light outline.
Oh,
And so that house is coming
I
down.
see.
This would be an entirely new structure
Oh.
up into the rear.
The house itself used to sit in the setback.
So the porch, the brand new design. It's not. It's just you want to use the entire width of the lot to. How many square feet are expected for each of these units to be, roughly?
1,247 per unit.
Okay.
So that's only
So
not even 650 a floor. Per unit.
I'm just curious, because you make the point, we have to have some relief, in support of your argument, well, we have to have some relief, we need a variance to do anything, but did you consider having two separate variance requests, one to be able to build it all, and the second for a duplex, so that if you can't get a duplex, you could build a single family?
We haven't applied for any relief to do single family. The design here is to do a duplex, and duplexes are allowed by right, understanding you need more lot area for a duplex than you do a single family. We understand that's a bigger ask than a variance for a single family would be, but we think the duplex fits pretty well on this property, and being at 9,100 square feet versus 15,000 square feet, compared to the other similar duplex cases that I know have come through the city, didn't seem like it was a very big deviation to me.
Mr. Monahan?
If this were a single-family home you were building, what would be this, what covered this? Would it be conforming, or would you still need to be here?
We'd still need to be here with a single family. We'd still need a lot size variance because the lot is 9,100 square feet and the minimum is 10,000. The city's advised that we can't tear down the existing home and build a new one without relief from the lot size.
This would fall under the new rule that one, because it's 9,100, right, but
What rule?
the new rule that they didn't vote on, that they deferred, which would be to not have the multiplier for duplex.
So if they were keeping the structure, they can convert the pre-existing structure to the duplex, but since they're demoing it, it falls into the 1.5 times because of the way that the board, or the city council, I should say, voted to amend that.
Oh, so there's no proposal to get rid of the multiplier for a duplex?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
And then in regards to, even if they were to demo the existing structure, they would still need to look at the non-conforming structure zoning code. I don't know why I was losing my train of thought. And they would still need to conform with today's code per this.
Nick, any questions? What you're calling porch there, that's the item that encroaches into this
The
setback?
porch,
An item that does.
I think that the porch, I'm just trying to zoom in here.
How deep is that?
How big is the setback?
No, the porch itself. I have a reason for asking the question. I'm not sure you do, I think there's a code issue that would actually require a landing there, if it's what I think it is. Is it a building code issue? Is that porch essentially is a flat surface, whether it has a roof over it doesn't matter. But, and then you have a couple of three risers going down, correct? Am I reading the plan correctly?
Yep.
Okay. And my guess is that those doors are a means of egress from those units.
Correct.
When you step out a door, you're supposed to step onto a minimum size surface that is not a step. Were you trying to chip in there
Yes.
to tell me that I've gotten it completely wrong?
Not from, you might not be from a code perspective, from building code perspective. From the zoning code, our ordinance does state that projections into required yards, including balconies, bay windows, open terraces, attached decks, steps, stoops, windowsills, eaves, chimneys, and fire escapes are permitted to the extent that the projection does not exceed 2 feet.
Right. Oh, I understand that.
So the request, I think, for the variance is valid as far as our code, our zoning code goes. Building code, though,
Yeah, I probably misspoke in saying that a variance is not necessary. What I was thinking is there's another additional argument, because
okay, yeah.
Mr. Arnold said they probably could pull it back. I'm not sure you could and comply with the building codes. I'm not sure whose job I'm doing here, but I did notice that.
You may be right. We have Tim Bernier here who did the plans. I don't know if he wants to weigh in on that issue at all.
I believe you are correct. That we may not be able to remove it for building code purposes.
Very good. Thank you. The record will show that was Mr. Bernier, and he is virtually signed in and sworn in. Any other questions?
Yeah, so I understand you'd need a variance even if you did a single-family home, but it would be less of a burden. So what's the reason for duplex versus a single-family home?
So the reason is that makes the use of the property more viable. A duplex is a permitted use by right. It's just that we don't meet the lot size requirement. And when you look at where the property is and the fact that there are other duplexes in the neighborhood on similar lot size, I think it negates the argument that the lot size requirement needs to be strictly applied. We're not in a very spread out residential neighborhood where increasing density on this lot is going to have a dramatic impact on the neighborhood. We abut, as I said, the Boys and Girls Club on one side, commercial property to the rear, and there are several other duplexes in the area. So yes, I agree, and I fully acknowledge that if we ask for a variance for a single family home, it would be a lesser request. We only need 10,000 square feet instead of 15. But I think that's the case with a lot of the variances that come before the board. There's usually some alternative where the project could be scaled back some and require less relief. And I think you need to balance that with whether the use itself is reasonable. And in this case, I think it's a reasonable ask because the building fits on the property and there are other duplexes in the area, and 9,100 to 15,000 is, I acknowledge, bigger than 9,100 to 10,000, but I still don't think it's a dramatic deviation.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in opposition to it? Any comments from planning? Well, that will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. We have a request for variances, dimensional variances, to build a duplex on a lot that currently sports an existing single family that does not comply with the existing zoning either. Start with Ms. Perkins.
I don't have a problem with the request, even though it is a duplex versus a single. The original house was fully in the setback, closer to the road, and the driveway is being maintained off of Bradley Street, which is basically a dead-end section of Bradley Street to the stores. So it's not going to create traffic issues or anything like that to the neighborhood. It'll look better. It's allowed in that area, and there's two that he pointed out that are very clearly right next door to this property that don't conform to the lot requirements as well, so I'm good with it.
Mr. Winters?
I think that my sense is in this area at this time, especially with, Rite Aid becoming abandoned, and that it could take a while before that lot is improved, so that's a little bit, not a, blight, but that's, going to be a vacant lot probably for quite a while. I think there's some other parts of this area that are underdeveloped or underutilized, as evidenced by the fact that the previous owners were not able to use the lot and lost it to taxes. So my sense is that the demand for rentals here is going to be much greater than the demand for single-family houses. I mean, I'm sure they could build a single-family house on this lot and they could sell it, but I don't think that's really making the best use of this lot at this time, in terms of, what the type of housing that people are really looking for. And also, I think they said it's about $1,200 per unit. So actually, they could build a single-family house that's bigger than the entire duplex.
Right.
And we almost certainly would have to, say have to, but we very likely would grant them a variance to build a single-family house, because otherwise, like they said, they couldn't do anything. So I think it's reasonable to build a duplex. I think the porch is slightly borderline, because they could just push it back a little, and make enough space within the setback, but it's also a very minor incursion, and it probably will improve the appearance. So I'm not too worried about the porch.
Yeah, I don't disagree with it, or I agree with Andrew's take on this, and I also, but the applicant made a good job of finding the balance between duplex fitting into the neighborhood and the impact being de minimis. I just said we should separate these. The 18-inch setback, that's completely reasonable. It's just the duplex versus single-family home, but I'm fine with it. Understanding the applicants considered the balancing interests that we have to look at.
Very good. Mr. Wallner?
I too agree. We've got a neighborhood where there's 5 or 6 lots that are of equal size, 2 duplexes on it already, several lots around it. We've got the urban lot that hasn't been developed yet. So I think a duplex is appropriate for that particular lot, despite the size of the lot.
Very good. I agree with my colleagues. We have 2 variances here, so we should probably deal with 2 motions.
There are 2.
Can I ask, because I wasn't here last month, but the month before, Mr. Thompson had said he did not need us or ask us to read the verbatim recommended motion. I mean, how do you feel about that? Or
I don't recall.
I'd prefer you to do 2 separate motions,
Yeah,
just because they are 2 separate requests.
I'll do it.
But I mean, reading. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
He was just talking about reading the whole litany.
The whole language that you guys write out for us now.
Do you want us to read all that?
I think for the record you should,
okay.
but that's just me.
No,
because when
yeah,
she goes
you're
back
here,
and does
so,
the
yeah,
minutes,
yeah.
she needs to be able to put it back in there,
All
so.
right, fair. No problem.
All right, so I move to grant the variance from section 28-5-2 duplex or 2-family dwelling to allow for 9,135 square feet where 15,000 square feet is required at tax map 583Z lot 71 located at 30 Pennacook Street in the urban transitional district. Because of all the criteria under the RSA 67433 have been met based on the records before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's finding of fact. I'm going to do them one at a time, right?
Yeah, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye.
I move to grant the variance.
No one opposed?
Sorry. I move to grant the variance from section 28-4-1D1 to allow the front deck steps to encroach into the front setback approximately 3.5 feet where the maximum encroachment is 2 feet at tax map 583Z lot 71 located at 30 Pennacook Street in the urban transitional district because of all the criteria under RSA 67433 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's finding of fact.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. Both variances are granted. You're welcome. Before we move on to the next case, there's an item I should bring to your attention. Cases 4.12 and 4.13. Kirsten has brought to my attention that the applications are not complete.
What, 4.13, sorry.
Yeah, 4.12 and 4.13, that the applications are not complete, that the fee has not been paid.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah, so with the concurrence of the board, I'd suggest that we leave those off the agenda for this evening. What we could do is we can recess them to the next meeting with the condition that the application become complete.
What were the numbers again?
4.12 and 4.13. They're the last two listed on the agenda. Or we can simply say, they're not complete, they're not.
Can we ask if without having anyone speak, if people, the only thing I get a little concerned about sometimes is if people set aside the time to come and talk, and then can we see if people came for this?
Did anyone come for 4.13 or 4.12? This is Hannah Judd. I don't see any hands.
Oh, that's good.
And I think,
Yeah, then I think what you said makes sense. However, procedurally, the board wants to do it, I'm open to.
typically if we recess a case, we open it and then adjourn it. We can do that, or we can simply, since the application is not complete, just not deal with it.
I mean, it may be we don't have authority to act if it's not complete, but I could say we can act just to recess it to next month.
Are you looking to continue it to a date certain?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think we should announce a date certain so you don't have to renotice it, right?
The other thing is it could be a moot issue because it's for temporary storage of a RV.
It's a code violation. So,
As opposed to just a zoning violation,
zoning code.
zoning code
violation.
violation.
Sorry. See, I'm doing it to you guys.
Yeah, we all speak in code around here.
Yeah.
What's the best way to proceed so that the abutters are noticed about when the, what is the best way to proceed so the abutters are noticed of the,
Without having to resend out, I mean, you don't want to have to resend out notices to the
Don't
abutters.
they usually have to pay the application prior to notifying the neighbors?
The way that this, yes, they should pay their application fees, but in order to get them on the agenda, typically the way that the due date falls plus the 10-day, we're
Yeah.
not at the 5-day because council kept the 10-day notification. We have to get it out sooner rather than
Gotcha.
later. So the board could continue it to a date certain of September if you so choose, but the abutters would not be re-notified of that.
Right, they would get their notice they were notified of today's meeting, so theoretically they would get their notice by checking on what happened today. And we would put in the minutes or say out loud what the next date is.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Or you can, as Mr. Curley said, it will not be heard tonight in general.
If it's not heard tonight, in some ways that's cleaner in my mind. I mean, in other words, we take no action on it.
But then what happens to it?
Because then it becomes a totally new case.
Oh, they would, oh,
That's the answer.
yeah, that's the answer.
They pay their bill,
But then you would have to renotice
And
it,
Correct.
and it gets renoticed.
so be it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, let's just do that.
Do I hear a motion to that effect?
So we'd move to take no action on this matter. Sorry, go ahead.
I would have, are you looking to deny the application?
No.
Well,
No.
we can't really deny it because it's actually, there is no,
We're,
Really? we can't deny it, it's not
It's already
complete.
been noticed, so I think you would have to move it to a date certain of September.
we can't just not hear it?
I don't believe so, no.
So you kind of noticed it on good faith that said she was going to pay, basically, even though normally you wouldn't notice it or docket it without a payment. Is that what happened?
Yeah, same with planning board cases, it's the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
So administratively, from your point of view, life is better if we recess it for a month.
To September, yep.
Continue.
Okay.
Well, I would recess it based on,
And then that way we can, with the
Yeah.
code violation that is currently, then I can speak with the code, planning and zoning officer to,
but if they don't pay, you can just dismiss it on your own, right? I mean, if they don't pay, then there's no application, there's nothing for us to hear,
yeah, I would have to check with,
but they gotta pay.
What confuses things is that it got onto the agenda.
correct, yep.
All right. In that case, it sounds like,
This is a first.
yeah, it sounds like housekeeping-wise, we need a motion to continue both cases, 4.12 and 4.13, to the September meeting of the ZBA,
So
with the
moved.
condition that the bills are paid,
Yeah.
everything is in order. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. The cases are set for next month, assuming the conditions are met.
And do we have that date? Is it September?
September something.
It's September 2nd.
September 2nd.
So it's continued till September 2nd.
Yep. Okay, the next case that we will hear this evening is case 4.5, Spencer Powers on behalf of ZIBV Properties LLC. They are requesting a variance from the allowable principal and accessory uses in zoning districts to permit the sales, rental, or repair of construction equipment whereas it is prohibited, where it is prohibited at Lot 87, located at 70 Pembroke Road in the Opportunity Corridor Performance District, OCP. This is case 0451. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but?
Of course, yes.
Would you identify yourselves for the record, please?
My name is Spencer Powers, and this is my wife, Nell.
Sorry to interrupt real quick. Mr. Carley, I noticed, and you may have noticed this too, 4.5 and there's also 4.10, which is the same,
Two different uses,
so but it's the
separate-
same
two
Different
applicant.
tenants.
two different tenants, different
Okay.
applicants.
Okay,
Same
so we
building.
can go forward with this one with that,
Yes.
it's unrelated. Okay, sorry.
Threw me for a loop too this month, so don't worry.
I would never make a mistake like that.
No, not a mistake, I just,
Please. The second name, I did not hear correctly.
I'm sorry, my name is Spencer Powers, and this is my wife, Joy Nell. I own a lawn and garden repair business, originally from West Lebanon, New Hampshire. And a few months ago, down on Manchester Street, a dealer from Concord went out of business, who sold the same lines that we did. And we took the opportunity to try to move down here and would like to use the 70 Pembroke location for our retail and repair spot, given the fact that it was once zoned commercial, has a large parking lot and loading docks for what we need to use. All of our retail will be strictly indoors, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Repairs that we do will be indoors as well. So very little impact for noise outside in the community. It's a very convenient spot where it's located right off of Loudon Road for us, for people to find us that have been going to the previous dealership
May I
for years.
interrupt you for just a moment?
Yes, sir.
Can we bring up the
Yep.
site plan for that?
it's the,
We get the wrong project up on the
Yeah,
screen.
it's the old Sprague Electric building.
yeah, we've
Yeah, I know the building, but I'd like to get the plan up.
building.
There's a woodworker. Oh, yeah. Cabinet maker we had to give a variance for, and
Back in ancient times, they made tantalum capacitors there.
Oh, now it's,
Whatever.
Where do they make those now?
Beats me.
Excellent.
And you can just hit the back button if you need
Okay.
to your application.
what side of the building?
So we're gonna be on the,
So left side of the buildings? Facing
so
the building?
Canterbury Road
On
side. I'm
Canterbury.
sorry.
On the
yes,
Canterbury Road side?
Yes. It's where there's you can see there's like a overhang on the front of the building. We use that just to put our display of lawnmowers and stuff outside during the day. And that's it. We just want to be able to use the parking lot, obviously, for the larger landscape trailers. They're already using it, for truck driving school is already using the parking lot for that. So we thought it would be an ideal spot for us to be using as well. The loading docks out back are convenient for us to be able to do the repairs on equipment and load them right there, bring everything inside. And it's just an overall seemed like an ideal place to open a business up for what we do. And then seeing as how it had been zoned commercial at one point, we'd like to, ask again.
So that you're going to repair lawn and garden equipment that's brought to you by your customers?
Yes, sir.
And also sell.
And retail.
As well as
Sell.
retail.
And is there going to be equipment on display outdoors?
Just underneath the overhang, and then most of it would be indoors. We're not talking large equipment. We're talking handheld chainsaws, trimmers, commercial mowers, but nothing of large, construction size. Nothing like that.
So are your customers mostly professionals, or is it like homeowners?
It's a mix. It's a mix.
So you could have people kind of walking in and browsing? And
Absolutely, yes.
how much foot traffic do you tend to get? How about parking?
In West Leb, we have a much smaller facility. We obviously do more because we've been there, longer. But on an average day, we like to see 50 to 60 tickets, which would be sales, whether it be a part, for something, say just a small part for your lawnmower or an entire lawnmower.
So as far as traffic to the area, I don't see there being any more than there actually is already. It is a pretty busy intersection of Canterbury and Pembroke.
Yeah.
Being that we're adjacent to Loudon Road. It's a pretty neatly kept area, and we want to keep that way so that there's not like unsightly equipment out front for the abutters. So we like to keep that neat.
It's a big parking lot.
Is it Greenlands that went out a bit? And you're sort of,
Yeah.
you have a similar model as they do?
It was Greenlands, yeah. Yeah.
They were pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not using the whole building.
No, sir. We rented just under 10,000 square feet.
Lawnmowers are considered construction.
I was questioning that.
It's the closest.
Okay. Other questions from the board? Is there anything else you'd like us to know? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in favor of this appeal? Please come forward. No, go ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Matt Johnson, Divine Milmet. I'm actually here for 410, but it's the same property, and so I figured I'd give you the same information that I found. I mean, this is information sort of related to the property, not specific to my client's application, but obviously my client and this applicant have a similar belief in the need for a variance. They're both tenants in this space. I was here before you guys in March for top-notch cabinetry, where this board gave a variance also for 70 Pembroke for light industrial. At the time, the board asked some good questions about how did we get to this zoning. So I did go back and take a look at it and researched it a little bit, and it does appear that this property itself was rezoned to its current zone back in 2018 to facilitate the current owner's property's attempt to do a residential project. And so this property got rezoned. There was site plan. They submitted a site plan for the planning board. They got one extension in 2022, and that's where the trail ended. So it appears there was no further subdivision, no further site plan for residential use of the property, but they had already switched the zoning to facilitate the ability to potentially do it, so there's now sort of this hangover effect. I'd also note that the current owner of the property has supported both my client's variance request, these people's variance request, and the top-notch cabinetry variance request, because he is leasing the property to these people for these uses. And so these uses, and the rest of the property itself, there is no residential use in the property. There's a t-shirt screening business, there's a custom sign manufacturer, there's a pinball place, there's an after-hours club, there's a clubhouse, there's a theater fabricator and set designer, and there's rental places for furniture storage. So it's all sort of...
Are any of them allowed by the zoning?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea. All I know is it's not residential. It's not, you know, it's not impacting. You have the owner who is leasing the space, and I think the other just important point for the board that and this is something the board touched on in the top-notch case, none of these variances are going to limit the owner's further development or further potential use of the property, because they're all lessees. So these variances use the property while they're a lessee, but these are not permanent changes to the uses of the property themselves. If the lease ends, or they move away, or the owner decides they want to do something different, and the leases run their course, the owner is free to do something different with the property. So I just, on behalf of this applicant, want to provide some context of sort of how we got here, because it used to be, the property itself used to be zoned differently. It used to be office park performance, where, as my understanding, at least I know my applicant would not have had an issue with that, and I suspect the current the applicant right before you right now would not have had an issue with that as well. So I just figured it's probably helpful to give the ZBA some context on the backstory of how we got to this point with this specific property.
Questions of the board?
Do you have maybe from your clients, do you have a sense of how long these leases are?
I would have to ask them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like relatively newly entered, but I mean, the point being, it's just, they're not a permanent.
Not an owner.
Yeah, they're not an owner. None of them are owners. And these are all, obviously they're not owners, so they didn't buy it and then go, oops. The owner was willing to lease it to them, understanding that this was the uses that they were going to undertake in the building. And so I think it's really, actually, in many ways, the use of the property is now back to where it was when it was previously zoned, before it got switched to facilitate residential development. And we all know how important residential development is, and workforce housing and all that. So I'm not suggesting it wasn't a laudable goal, but that plan there is no development plan in works for residential. And so, but because of the switch, all of these users who fit this property need variances, as that's why you've seen a few of them come before you recently.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard in favor? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in opposition? Is there any comment from the planning board? Oh, did I see a hand?
Yes.
Oh, please come forward. I'm sorry. Yeah, you got to come up.
Okay, it's not that I'm in opposition, but I do have some concerns.
Well, come on up and share your concerns. Swear to tell the truth and nothing but it?
Yes.
May I have your name, please?
Cynthia Brown.
What would you like us to know, Ms. Brown?
Well, I'm a homeowner in that same area of that building, and one of the concerns I have is the amount of traffic.
May I interrupt you just a moment?
Oh, sure.
Where's your house relative to that? Can you point it out on the map?
What's your
I'm
address?
on Pembroke Road,
Okay,
and directly across from the old Sprague building.
okay.
Well, what's your
Probably
address?
in
What's
the
your
middle,
street
the
number?
middle of it, like, the middle of the building.
So 3 or 4 from the intersection?
Yeah, I'm 4 down from the intersection
Okay.
of Canterbury.
I apologize. I just wanted to get a feel
No,
for
that's
where you
okay.
were.
So, I'm just concerned about the amount of traffic, because, there's that 4-way intersection there. And we already do experience a lot of traffic on Pembroke Road, because people take that as an alternate route for Loudon Road. And originally, Regional Drive was going to probably take some of that pressure off, which I'm sure it did. But still, we experience a lot of traffic. And so that's basically the concern I have with that 4-way four-way intersection there, people coming and going, and maybe a little bit concerned about maybe the type of noise with the equipment that they're gonna be bringing in, because they're gonna have to, start it up, be running different tractors and mowers and whatever for the customers, and once they repair it and so forth. So they might create a little bit of noise. I understand that it's gonna be Monday through Friday, as he stated. So probably that's not as much of a concern.
I do think he also stated that most of it would take place inside the building.
Yeah,
Can I respond to that?
You'll have a chance.
yeah. So, I just wanted to
How,
bring,
and when did Sprague Electric stop functioning there? Has it been a long time?
it's probably, I've
Decade?
lived there for 35, 40 years, probably 40 years.
So it's a,
And I think that they went out of business just shortly before I moved there. I don't remember there being any, it might have been a little bit after I moved there.
so has it been, has there been a lot of activity there, or has it been mostly dormant?
No, there is some activity. Actually, I don't know the person who was before me, and he was naming off these things, what is being, in that building. I don't know really what's going on in that building. They're not noisy. They take good care of the lawn, and the traffic is light. There isn't a lot of traffic that's generated.
There's a surprising number of businesses in that building.
Yeah, I don't know.
You wouldn't know
It
they were
used-
there unless you were headed to it.
Yeah, and the noise, there's no noise level, there's not any traffic that I can see. There's a number of cars, but they must leave at different times or something, because it's not like a big line of people coming out of there. And it is residential on the, I don't know if the street that across from Canterbury runs straight across. I don't know what that road is called, whether it's Canterbury as well, I don't think it is. But, there's family homes over there with children and so forth, and the side of the street that I live on, and then going towards, out towards Wendy's, there's all residential. And, we have the buses that run through there during the school year on that road, picking up and dropping off kids, and so that was my concern about the traffic.
Very good.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to be heard?
Can I just comment?
You will have a chance, yeah, hang on. Any comments from code, or, gosh, I did it again. Any comments from planning?
There was a comment made regarding the variance. So if there's a tenant space and they're requesting a variance, and that tenant moves out of that space, and it doesn't lapse for the 2-year period, another tenant can move in
Yeah.
and take on that use.
As
So
to that unit, or anywhere in that,
correct. If they're moving into the same unit,
Yeah.
just to that unit?
Yeah.
yes,
And it has to be the same use.
has to be the same use. So I just want to
Within 2
clear
years,
within
or
the
they would
yeah,
be-
as long as it doesn't go dormant and it hasn't, they have to establish the use in the
These
unit.
uses are all so niche, unless they were taking over the exact same business, it would
Right.
be hard to say what the exact same use, but yeah.
Which is essentially, if he,
Yeah.
say he were to retire and this variance was approved tonight, and someone else,
Could
you
buy
know,
his
That makes
business
he
and
could buy the
stick it right
business
there.
and
Yeah.
just change the names,
Yeah,
and
I
the
did
same
catch
function
that.
will be. So I just wanted to make that clarification for the board, and the comments about it changing to the OF, it was the OFP, I think, before, and now it's the OCP. Yeah, that did take place in 2018, so those comments are accurate. So there was that zoning change regarding that, and I think it wasn't in this staff report because of how the use was classified. It still wouldn't have been a permitted use in the OFP, but I think in the later case, that use it would have been, so.
Very good. All right. Mr. Powers, I have the impression you might like to offer factual clarification in response to what you've heard. Please come forward.
I just wanted to bring up the fact that anything that we're going to be repairing is going to be done inside in a ventilated part of the building. The amount of time that this stuff actually runs to test it, if you will, is less time than a neighborhood would be mowing their own lawn. So the noise would be even less than hearing somebody's lawnmower next door.
Very good. And what approximately do you think your impact on the local traffic would be?
Given the amount that goes through there now, I don't think we'd have any more or any less. It's a very popular road. There's already commercial customers that are pulling in here that are driving by every day anyway, that whether they stop or not is just whether they need something, but they're using the road anyway.
Very good. Other questions from the board? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we'll declare the public testimony portion of the hearing closed. And I will invite the board to talk this one over, starting with Mr. Monahan. How do you see this one, sir?
First of all, I'd love to see the city council fix the zoning issue there, so that
Right?
Yeah.
these folks aren't burdened by having to come in all the time. But I think it's a completely reasonable use of the space. It's consistent with the type of activities taking place there, so I'm inclined to support.
Mr. Winters?
I have so much to say about this building, but
That's okay. We'll take it on faith.
I mean, so the short answer is yes. I don't see how we could deny this, because what else are they going to do here? But I kind of want to meet the landlord. I don't know what the vision was or is to get it rezoned, but then not be able to follow through. So now they zone themselves out of a viable use.
If it was them.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody did who had authority.
It may have been someone who never even owned the land.
And I kind of respectfully disagree with Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson?
In the sense that, yes, I see the point. If it's tenants, yeah, you could theoretically evict them all or wrap their leases up. But once you sign enough leases, unless you're very careful about the time, so they all happen to end at the same time, they're going to be staggered. So you're never going to have a completely empty building that you could just switch to residential. I mean, once you go through all this, there's a lot of fit up. You're essentially reorienting the building to a multi-commercial use that it's not zoned for, which is not ideal to ask us for all this relief one after the other, but on the other hand, there's no other viable use for it. The residential didn't work out, so I don't think we really have any other choice. I mean, unless the use they're proposing is completely dangerous, but in this area of the town, it's pretty well suited.
Ms. Perkins?
I agree.
Mr. Wallner?
I agree with James. Mr. Monahan.
So do I.
No offense.
As do I. The building itself creates a hardship. It's an anomaly, and there's no way around it. And it's been true every time we've seen it. It hasn't changed. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I can. Okay. I move to grant the variance from section 2824J3 to permit the sale, rental, or repair of construction equipment, which is prohibited at tax map 632Z lot 87, located at 70 Pembroke Road in the Opportunity Corridor Performance District, because all the criteria under RSA 674:33 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's finding of fact.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The variance is granted. You're all set. Thank you. You're welcome. Next case is case 4.6. Christopher Drescher, on behalf of Raymond Belia and the City of Concord, requests a variance from the table of principal uses to allow a two-family duplex residential property where the use is prohibited at 3 Merrimack Street in the Central Business Performance District. This is in Pennacook. and it's case number 0452.
Thank you. Greetings to the Honorable Board. Oh, sorry. Yep.
Greetings. Swear to tell the truth and nothing but.
Absolutely.
Identify yourselves for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the Honorable Board. My name is Christopher Drescher. I'm an attorney with Cronin, Bisson & Zielinski out of Manchester. I'm here today with my client, Ray Bellia, who is the applicant, and I guess I'm also here tonight somewhat on behalf of the City of Concord. Bring this, I guess, up here, what we got. All right, I guess this is probably the best visual I can have. All right, so tonight we are asking the Honorable Board for a variance from Article 28-2-4K, Table of Allowable Uses, specifically use number A2, of the zoning ordinance to allow for a duplex use in the Central Business Performance Zone. This request is relative to the repurposing of 3 Merrimack Street, Pennacook, New Hampshire, technically, as a residential duplex, which has historically been used as a public library. And if you go by some of the writing on the side of the building, I guess it was always once a police station at one time, although I'm not sure when. The current owner of the property is the City of Concord. And currently the property is developed with this 2-story commercial building with frontage along Merrimack Street. The structure was built in approximately 1900, according to your tax records. And when I looked up the purpose of the CBP zone in your master plan, or somewhere, it said that, you know, the purpose of the zone was to have high-density residential uses, and also noted that they like to preserve the 19th century architecture of the buildings that are in the zone. So here, what we're proposing here, if you're familiar with this building, it's a great old building, and it's still in great shape around the exterior. And so what my client wants to do is modify it and turn it into a duplex, which is not otherwise allowed in the zone, despite the fact that multifamily use is allowed in the zone. We are going to keep the old library's exterior. It's going to keep its historic feel. And in doing so, it really is a better fit for a duplex than an actual multifamily building, given its size, square footage. It's a 2-floor building, and really only 2 units are going to fit into it, and 2 units will fit into it quite nicely. Relief is needed to allow the duplex use here, but also we had to go to planning and get a conditional use permit to allow the residential use on the ground floor, which is also prohibited, but it's available in that zone if you get a conditional use permit. We went to planning first only because, and let me explain why we did that. We're under a purchase and sale, and the way it worked out timing-wise, we needed to make sure we got here for this variance as well as to the planning for the conditional use permit, and the way it worked out with their closing date is planning happened first. So we went there, we secured that conditional use permit, I'm happy to say, and now we're here hoping to seal the deal with this variance. And with that, I will go through the criteria. Prong 1, granting the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. Well, the standards for both prongs 1 and 2 is, number 1, if you grant the variance, will it alter the essential character of the neighborhood? 2, if it's granted, will it negatively impact the health, welfare, and safety of the surrounding area? And I always like to point out that, you know, mere conflict with the terms of the ordinance is insufficient, because all variance asks, of course, are going to be somewhat averse. And those are the 2 prongs, of course, from the Harborside case that speak to the public interest as well as the spirit of the ordinance. But I always like to point out that prong 1 is in the negative. So you don't have to say that it's in the public interest, just that it's not contrary to the public interest. And for that, and I'll point out, go right into the character of the neighborhood, the essential character of the neighborhood. So if it's granted, this variance is not going to alter the essential character of the neighborhood, because the general underlying use that is proposed here is still residential use. It's a residential use which is otherwise allowed in the zone, and generally speaking. And generally speaking, most of the residential buildings in the neighborhood do surround this, and they are, of course, all multifamily. And here, even though we're referring to this as a duplex, given the style and the aesthetics of the building, it really does appear to be more of the style of an apartment building. And that's kind of what it's going to look like. And furthermore, we're going to keep the old, 1900 style and look. But put simply, by allowing this to be a residential duplex, it's not going to, have any significant impact on the essential character of the neighborhood. I think it's quite frankly, it's right in line with it. And the second piece is safety. There's no evidence to suggest that an approval would have any negative impact on the public health, safety, or welfare. A duplex is not going to add any significant amount of traffic. We're talking about 2 units, one on the first floor and one on the second floor. The site has city water and sewer, so there's, for once I get to come to one of these meetings and not have to make any kind of arguments about wetlands or well radius or septic, this or that. And so I would say that this is not going to negatively impact any health or safety for those reasons. Spirit of the ordinance, as I said, it's the same analysis. Thanks to the Supreme Court, it's the same analysis as prong 1, so I get to say, just see my previous points. Substantial justice, I'm sure this honorable board is very well aware that the sort of rule here is that any loss to the individual that is not outweighed by gain to the general public is an injustice. Well, here, the loss to this applicant not approving the variance would far outweigh any benefit to the general public. This proposal adds housing to the, to your stock, which of course we all know we need in the state right now. Furthermore, this proposal is going to breathe some much needed updates into this historical building. I said the outside looks great. I didn't really talk, on the inside it's in tough shape, and then we've got some stuff out back. I believe there's some decks and things like that that are essentially falling off. They're going to be needing to remove. So he's going to sort of breathe a little bit of life into that building. And of course, it's not really doing anything for your tax revenue right now because it's a government-owned building. So this, of course, puts it back into the tax rolls. Nice new renovated, residential building. Prong number 4 with the surrounding property values. I mean, the building right now is not being used to its full potential here. What the applicant tends to do, what it wants to do here is, again, improve it, breathe some new life into it, and make it home for, at least 2 people or more. And there's just simply no evidence that in doing that it's going to negatively impact the surrounding property values. If anything, it will enhance them because it's going to fix something. And finally, hardship. Of course, this board knows what the 3-step analysis are: the conditions of the property, fair and substantial, and then is the use reasonable. Well, I think the special conditions are satisfied right off the bat due to the, of course, very tiny size of this lot, its rather unique shape, the historic use of the lot, the historic building, of course, dates back to 1900. And that really makes the building probably the most defining special condition for hardship. Aesthetically and in keeping with the purposes of the zone, it's more advantageous to preserve and repurpose this old building than just tear it down and try to build it newer. In fact, I think if you try to do that, you probably bump into all kinds of zoning issues because you'd lose any pre-existing non-conforming rights to that foundation, potentially. The fair and substantial prong, that language has always been a mouthful. I always like to go to these meetings and say, another way of saying it is, if you grant the variance, would it unreasonably frustrate the purpose of the ordinance? So if you look at the purpose of the ordinance here, you have an ordinance that says thou shalt not have duplexes, even though you can have multifamily. Well, I have to presume that the purpose and goal of that is to foster more multifamily, right? More housing, more density. Make it a more urbanized area, because when you read the plan, it certainly contemplates that you want residences mixed in with commercial businesses. But I get it. You want to see more housing. A duplex is still more housing. I don't think by adding this and repurposing this building that really unreasonably frustrates that purpose. You're still adding housing, even if it's a duplex versus an official multifamily housing or anything like that. So in doing so, I would say that this proposal is, despite whatever averseness there is to the actual ordinance, I'd say it's still in keeps with the spirit, the intent, in adding more housing to the area. And then finally, is the use reasonable? I think that one's easy. Residential use is allowed in the zone. A duplex is still a residential use. So I would contend that the use is reasonable. We're happy to answer any other questions.
Kirsten, is there parking required for this project?
On the property?
I think I could speak a little bit to this. We're working with the city because right now there's street parking, but the signs say 2-hour limit. So obviously, if somebody's living in the duplex, they need more than 2 hours. So we are working with the city, and this was discussed at the planning board meeting last month, that they'll be changing the parking restrictions there.
Because you obviously can't fit in.
No, nothing, there's not even.
There's also an additional lot, if you go up the road a little bit, it doesn't have an address, it's a little corner lot, and the city's providing that as well as part of the sale. And I believe.
Wait, you mean letting your tenants use it? What do you mean?
No, we're purchasing that.
Oh,
lot.
you're gonna own that lot too?
Yes, and we're gonna be able to fit a driveway for 3 cars.
How far of a walk is it? Like it's within walking distance, like a resident could use it?
Chris
Oh,
is
absolutely,
gonna
yes.
pull it up on the screen.
Okay.
Does the CBP require parking?
Probably not.
That's what I need to look up.
I suspect it doesn't.
It's a,
Yeah.
So that answers my question.
yeah, there is parking,
So there will be 3 spots there, or
I think it's
a
the-
driveway.
You're thinking
And
of
then
the
they're also
CB.
gonna alter the
I think it's the
2-hour
They are.
CBP.
time limit parking in front
Well,
of.
they're working
Required,
through
but I
that.
gotta look it
Yeah.
up.
Oh, what's the CVP or
CVP,
So
CDB.
on the map, I did
I mean,
notice
how to
those parking spots along the edge.
Yes.
Who do those belong to?
So that, along the edge of the road?
Okay.
Along the edge of the
So 3
building.
houses down.
Oh, that is the next lot over.
That's the next lot.
It's theirs, okay.
Yeah.
that's the parcel
Corner
where the
there,
parking's gonna come
Well,
with.
the thrust of it is I just want to make sure we hadn't overlooked
Yeah.
a need for a variance for parking, but it sounds like we have not.
Correct. We've been working pretty closely with planning in the city on this, so we do have a plan in place for that.
Very good. Any questions from the board? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone who'd like to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone who'd like to be heard in opposition to it? Any comments from planning?
I'm still looking into your question. I would have to talk with Tim a little bit more. He's been fully involved on this. I have not been. So
Well, it's-
I apologize for my
It's,
ignorance on this.
from our point of view, we're not being asked to grant a variance, so if one's needed, that's a separate issue.
Yep.
For parking.
Yeah, that's true.
I know that Tim Thompson is gonna be considering making an adjustment to the parking out in front. I've been through the planning board.
Yeah.
So it is something that they will be working on.
Okay. Ms. Perkins, how do you see this one?
I don't really have an issue with it. I'm a little confused as to why a 2-family would not fit the multifamily idea, but I think based on that and best use of the building, that matters most. So I don't have a problem approving it.
Mr. Waiters?
This is an interesting one because we're so used, 90% of our cases that have to do with use or that people want to build more dense than the code would
This
allow.
is
But
under.
but here, the code wants density, so they don't want single family or even duplexes. They want more density in an urban. But I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, this building is pre-existing and it's not able to realistically fit more than 2. So unless they were going to try to add on top, which would probably be hideous.
And change the character.
Yeah. So therefore, I think it's the building itself creates the hardship, as Chris would say.
Mr. Monahan?
Yeah, I agree. The building creates a hardship, and it's a very thorough presentation. I think all the criteria has been met.
Mr. Waller?
The same.
I agree with my colleagues. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I'll read.
So thank you.
I move to grant the variance from section 28-2-4 KA2 to allow a 2-family duplex residential use as tax map 1414P lot 62, 3 Merrimack Street, Pennacook, in the Central Business Performance District because of all of the criteria under RSA 67433 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's finding of facts.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. The variance is granted. And in the next case, I will step down, and you're welcome. And Mr. Wallner will take the reins.
Thank you. The next case before us is case number 4.7. Michael Graffier requests a variance from section 2841D2 rear yard setback and 2841H table of dimensional requirements to allow for a 21-foot rear yard setback where 25 feet is the maximum allowed required to permit the construction of additional located on tax map 7332Z lot 50, located at 12 Tohoto Street in the neighborhood residential RN district.
Chair.
Mr. Graffier, swear to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
You can look at for now.
Tell us what you like to do.
Well, the basis of this whole request is
Did you swear him in?
I did.
I missed that part.
what are we doing?
For something else, he's been here a couple of times, but for.
So these are any of your application materials.
I don't know what you said.
If you want to click on these, if you want to show any of your application materials.
Okay. All right, background is that I'm trying to put a first floor bathroom on my house at 12 Tohoto Street where I lived for 49 years. In March of this year, I applied for a building permit to add a bath to the first floor and to create a new mudroom entrance since I used the existing mudroom to make it a bathroom. Now, the paperwork that I handed out today, it includes the original plan that was submitted for a building permit, which was granted in March. And the other piece of paper that I gave you that's attached to that plan is basically shows you a before and after of the site. And currently it shows the current, the before is shows the mudroom next to the kitchen, and the after shows the mudroom converted to a bathroom, and then a new entrance and mudroom created a little further toward the back of the house. I was granted a building permit to do this, and the building permit 1586 was issued, called for first inspection at rough framing, and and I will acknowledge that I tweaked the plan a little bit while it was under construction. When my contractor got there, there were some things that we needed to change, and as a result of that, when the building inspector came to do the rough framing inspection, he determined that my tweaking made the building made the addition a couple feet longer, so that it then was closer to the property line than is called for, the rear property line, closer than is called for in the ordinance. I needed 25 feet. This ended up 21 feet from the property line. I was told at the time that I needed to stop construction and get a new building permit and also come before this board to get a variance to allow me to put this building 21 feet from the property line instead of 25 feet from the property line. So here I am today, asking for a variance to allow the setback requirements to be modified for this addition to allow me to be 21 feet from the property line versus 25 feet. Some of you may recall that I was here before this board a couple years ago to change the property line, which at that time was only 6 feet from the back of my house. So I added to the property, but obviously there's only like 26 feet between the two houses. So the two houses that are there back to back, there's just no way to satisfy the code that requires 25 feet of setback.
Do you own both of them, if I remember?
When I was here before, I owned both of them. I've since sold the Summit Street property, 11 Summit Street, that was sold just a year ago. So there's a new homeowner in there, and she was notified of this hearing.
And that's the lot that this technically is the setback abuts? That's the lotting that this setback would be up against, the lot that you sold on 11 Summit?
Well, when I sold 11 Summit, I had changed the property line so that instead of being 6 feet behind 12 Tohoto Street, the property line is now 6 feet behind Summit Street. So that's the property line that I'm talking about, that this addition will be 21 feet from instead of 25 feet from.
Yeah. I see.
So that's where I am today. The construction has stopped, and I'd like to start again, but I need the approval of this board to allow the change in the setback, variance from the setback requirements. But I want to emphasize that the construction that's already been done was done with a legitimately issued building permit that I was told to stop construction on when the inspector discovered that there was this incursion, I guess, or encroachment on the property line. I guess I should go through the criteria, which are all spelled out in my application. This would not be contrary to the public interest because the proposed variance does not affect the use of the property, and there is no injury or effect whatsoever to any public or private rights of others, including the abutters. It's just a little addition on the back of my house, and it doesn't go as far as the back of the kitchen, which is only 20 feet from the property line. And that was allowed by the zoning board a couple of years ago. Spirit of the ordinance would be observed because the variance is a minor change in setback requirement for a 6-foot wide addition, and it is a foot less than the existing wall it will abut, which was allowed previously, as I said, by the ZBA about 2 years ago. Granting the variance would do substantial justice because by granting this variance, it will facilitate the addition of a downstairs bath at 12 Tohoto Street and allow the reconfiguration of the rear entry of the dwelling and replacement of the mudroom to be occupied by the new bath. In fact, if you look at the second page of the handout that I gave you, as far as lot coverage is concerned, there's actually less because there was a porch there, not a porch, but a deck, which I got rid of when I constructed the new mudroom area. If granted, the values of surrounding properties will not be diminished because they're not affected at all by this change in my house. And if the variance is granted, the proposed addition only results in the removal of a porch, which has previously covered more area than that of the addition that's being proposed. Finally, unnecessary hardship. The denial of the requested variance will prohibit the ability to convert an existing mudroom and entrance to a bath and to reconfigure the rear entry and add a new mudroom. There is no substantial relationship between the general public purposes of the setback provisions of the ordinance and their application to the proposed use of this property. The proposed use of the property to accommodate the addition of a first floor bath is reasonable. So I've submitted to you for your consideration.
But is your existing house in the setback now?
The existing house.
Back of the existing house.
Back of the existing house, with the picture that shows kitchen. If you see kitchen on there, that back wall is 20 feet from the property line. It used to be 6 feet from the property line. I changed it 2 years ago to make it 20 feet.
And the setback is 25.
And the setback requirement is 25.
So
yes.
So your house is currently by pre-existing condition in the setback.
Yes. What do you mean? I don't know what you mean by in the setback. The setback is less than it should be.
Yeah,
yes.
right. And
So I see your diagrams, and I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking on the Google map, so I don't know if that's the perfect one, but I think I see how your house is kind of, I don't know how to, like a Z shape almost. Is this addition going like in the nook of, like where on your lot is the addition going exactly? Is it just extending the back of the house further towards the lot line?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, yeah.
I don't know exactly what the Google map looked like, but do you see an odd-shaped deck sort of tucked into the corner at the back of the house?
Yeah.
That's what's there now.
That's what's there now.
And
Okay,
this
if you look
is
at that deck,
It turned into a mudroom.
if you look at the
So
deck,
you're actually reducing.
yes.
Okay. Now I
Yes,
understand.
and if you look at
'Cause
the
you're tearing
deck,
that down.
if you look at the deck, there is, tucked into the corner of the deck is the entry to the house. There's a covered entry to the house. And that's the mudroom, which I've turned into a bathroom, and then I've just extended that part of the house closer to the back of the property line.
Oh, I see. So you're actually reducing the infringement, the setback, because you've torn down the deck.
They got rid of the deck, yes.
I understand. Thank you.
Any questions from the members of the board?
No.
Good?
Yeah.
Andrew, you good?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Gafir.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of this application? Or is there anyone who wants to speak in opposition to this application? Planning comments? Seeing none? Close the hearing. Comments from the board? Andrew?
I think it took me a while because I saw the diagrams, but I didn't quite see them how it was relating to the lot. But now that I understand, I think that historically we've been inclined to approve variances that are reducing the infringement when there's already an infringement. Now, so and it's a pretty modest one. So, and I think it's a pretty reasonable use to add a bathroom and keep the mudroom. So I'd be inclined to approve it.
Same.
Jim?
Same.
Great. Ditto. Any motions from any one of you?
I guess I have to.
I'll keep reading.
Can you do it?
Got it right here. I move to grant the variance from section 28-4-1 D2 rear yard setback, 28-4-1 table of dimensional requirements to allow for a 21-foot rear yard setback where 25 feet is the maximum allowed required to permit the construction of an addition location on tax map 7332 Z Lot 50 located at 12 Tohoto because of all the criteria under RSA 67433 have been met based on the records before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's finding of fact.
Thank you, Brenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I think there's a mistake in what you just read. It isn't the maximum, it's the minimum.
Minimum allowed, yes, it is written maximum, but you're correct. So make that motion with the correction of minimum 25-foot setback. Thank you, sir.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's unanimous, 4-0. Thank you, Mr. Gafir.
Thank you.
Gotta call his construction team.
Once again, Mr. Wallner, I'm in your debt.
I'll send you a bill.
Okay.
Seems like he's.
Yeah.
And I'll tend to it right away. Okay, that brings us to 4.8. Orrin Reno, on behalf of William Young Properties, requests the following variances.
I did not have my afternoon coffee today.
For lot 8812Z26 with an address at 374 South Main Street, located within the medium-density residential RM district. Variance from section 24.4 1B, minimum lot size to allow construction of a single-family home on a lot containing approximately 5,662 square feet where 12,500 are otherwise required. A variance from the minimum lot frontages to allow construction of a single-family home on a lot having approximately 49 feet of frontage where 100 feet is otherwise required. a variance from the minimum yard requirements to allow a front yard setback of approximately 20 feet from South Main Street, where 25 feet is otherwise required. And finally, a variance from minimum yard requirements to allow side yard setbacks of approximately 3 feet north side and 14 feet south side, where 15 feet is otherwise required. Mr. Arnold, you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
Would you identify yourself for the record as you testify, please?
John Arnold from Warren Reno, representing William Young Properties. So as you said, the property is 374 South Main Street. Maps up on the screen. It's right by the on-ramp to 93 South at exit 12. It's a pre-existing non-conforming lot, both in terms of area and frontage. Until June, it also had a pre-existing non-conforming structure on it, that house that you can see in the aerial. And I say until June because in June, Mr. Young pulled a demo permit and tore down the house. He left the foundation. Due to a miscommunication or misunderstanding with the city, he believed that if he took down the house to the foundation, he could rebuild on the foundation, preserving the nonconformities that existed. The city has since made very clear that's not the case, so he has a hole in the ground and a foundation in place with no house on a lot that's undersized and without enough frontage. So we're asking for the 4 variances you just summarized. The lot size is 5,600 square feet, that's existing, 12,500 is required. We have 49 feet of frontage along South Main. You can actually see there are 2 frontages on the property, 2 frontages, High Street and South Main Street. 49 feet on South Main Street, 100 feet is required. The front setback, this is just measured from the existing foundation, so 20 feet from the existing foundation to South Main Street. We've got about 3 feet on the north side and about 14 feet on the south side. So the common theme here, as I said, is this is an existing foundation. The lot is undersized, it has inadequate frontage. He's just looking to put a house back on the same place where there was one previously. On the public interest in the spirit of the ordinance, there won't be any impact to the character of the locality or threat to public safety, health, or welfare. There's been a house on this lot. It's been a single-family home. He's putting a single-family home back in the same location. The house that was there until June was there since 1930, so in terms of the character of the neighborhood, there really won't be any change. I should caveat that the one change is that the house that was there was a ranch. Mr. Young's proposing to do a 2-story house, so it'll be a little bit taller than what was there. But it's generally consistent with what's around there. There are a number of ranches, some 2-story houses, similar lot size, similar setbacks. On substantial justice, don't think there's going to be any public harm here. Right now there's just a hole in the ground. There's a public benefit to getting a house put back up there and providing, again, more housing stock to the city. And the variance is likewise, or the variances are likewise of significant value to Mr. Young, because without them he can't do anything, can't put anything on the property. We think that new construction will improve surrounding property values. It's going to be, again, new construction, new house out there. And construction consistent with what's around it. And on the hardship, the lot size and the frontage can't be fixed. Simply an old lot that predated today's zoning. On the setbacks, those are being dictated by where the foundation is today. The foundation constitutes a structure on the property that imposes a constraint. I think there's value in allowing to reuse that foundation instead of tearing out the foundation and pouring a new foundation in order to try and increase the setbacks. And the reality is that even if that were the course he went, I don't think he can put a house on this lot in compliance with the setbacks anyways. The widest point along South Main Street is 49 feet, 15-foot setback, side setback on each side leaves you, I guess, 19 feet at the widest point of the lot to try and squeeze a house in there. So the amount of additional expense and work that would go into tearing out that existing foundation and try and put a new one in, I think you're still going to end up with setback encroachment, so I don't think that's worth, I don't think the gain outweighs the cost there. So to sum it up, we're basically just looking to be able to put a house back on a lot where it was located historically, where it always has been, and think it's a reasonable use. It's just a single family house, and I think that's it.
Questions from the board?
So, so you're reusing the same foundation, so are there any non-foundation elements that are gonna be pushing the setbacks further, like a deck or overhang or anything like that, or you're literally asking for the same setback relief that in frontage and so forth that had existed with the house that was there until it was torn down?
The latter, yeah.
Other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in opposition to it? Is there any comment from the planning department? With that, we'll close the public testimony portion of the hearing, and I'll solicit discussion from the board, starting with Mr. Walter.
I have no issue with this. It's a substandard lot. It's small. They're rebuilding on an existing foundation. We've tended to be pretty forgiving on these requests in the past, and I think we should do so the same in this one.
Mr. Monahan.
Yeah, I agree. It's the most reasonable use of the property.
Mr. Winters.
Yeah, I think that the staff is correctly interpreting the letter of the code to say that simply because there's a foundation there, that you still need a variance. However, it's a practical matter. It would be very inefficient and to require them to pour a new foundation just to try to save a little bit of zoning.
Ms. Perkins.
And it would still need a variance on both sides. If there was no foundation, this was a raw piece of land, I'd have a hard time approving a house, but where there was a house, it was already non-conforming for way longer than the rules applied to the lot. I think it's only fair to allow them to put another house back on it.
All right. I agree with my colleagues. I would support a motion to grant all 4 variances. It looks like we're going to need 4 motions, though.
I'm not reading
No,
this one.
not the way it's written. We can do it all in one.
Really?
Yeah. But it's
Guess
a
you're
long
doing
one.
it.
I guess I'm doing it, right?
It's your turn.
They're all lumped into one on that one.
Oh, all right.
So I move to grant the variance from section 2441B, C, D1, D3 to allow the construction of a single-family home on the lot containing approximately 5,662 square feet, where a minimum lot area of 12,500 square feet is required. Oops. Construction of a single-family home on the lot with approximately 49 feet of frontage, where a minimum of 100 feet is required. A front yard setback of approximately 20 feet from South Main Street, where a minimum setback of 25 feet is required. And side yard setbacks of approximately 3 feet on the north side and 14 feet on the south side, where a minimum side yard setback of 15 feet is required at tax map 8812Z, lot 26, 374 South Main Street in the medium density residential district, because all the criteria under RSA 674-33 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's finding of fact.
Wonderful. Would anyone care to second that?
You'd better.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. The variances are granted. And that brings us to 4.9. Tom Heck requests a variance from allowable principal uses in zoning districts to permit a commercial kennel for medical grooming where the use is prohibited at 37 Ironworks Road, in the single-family residential RS district. Gentlemen, you swear to tell the truth and nothing but?
I do.
Would you identify yourselves for the record, please?
Yeah, good evening. My name is Ben French. I'm an attorney at Gallagher, Callahan, and Gartrell. I'm a colleague of Ari Pollock, who is likely more of a familiar face to you all here, especially with this application as well. I do want to just clarify, and actually this is Tom Heck with me, who's principal owner and operator of the practice for 37 Ironworks Road. At the outset, I do just want to clarify what's on the agenda that says medically necessary or medically related grooming. I think there's a little bit of a misunderstanding there where in communication with planning in May or June of this year, I believe what was established was that the medically related grooming for existing patients or patients that come in for, say, an operation and need to get groomed to get a shot, that is allowable. that the distinguishing issue here is grooming services in general versus those that are medically related to someone's care at this veterinary practice, and we can talk about that more, and if I need to clarify that better, I can. But for purposes of what we're here for today and for the later motion, that detail I think is important. So as the board is likely aware, this is a veterinary practice that was approved via variance back in 1969 and has since come back before the board a couple times for some clarifications. This came with some conditions of approval related to it. And so again, this issue arises from a bit of an ambiguity in the zoning ordinance. Currently, there is a definition for kennels, which contemplates grooming and overnight boarding. There's also the use of veterinary practice, which goes undefined. There's not an actual definition of veterinary practice in the ordinance. So as part of that, the best way to classify doing grooming services here is under the definition of kennel. So basically what we need and what we're looking for here today is a modification or a clarification in the variance that allows them to do grooming services.
So no intention for overnight kenneling?
My understanding is that boarding is contemplated, and I can point you to the correspondence with planning where they said boarding was contemplated as part of the original variance, but grooming is specifically what we're focused on today.
So
All
can you
right.
back up? So
Sure.
There's no reason to be talking about medical grooming. Just it's just grooming.
Correct. This would be someone comes in for their, maybe someone is coming in for services on a different day. Well, a pet gets surgery and they have a relationship with this veterinarian, but they later say, it's time for my dog to get a haircut. We would like to go and use the grooming services, versus if my dog goes in for a procedure and needs to get a shot in his arm, or whatever the proper terminology would be, you might have to shave that down a bit, and that would be medically necessary grooming, if that makes sense.
So it should really read kennel for more than just medical grooming.
For grooming
That's the
services
variance you
generally.
need, right?
Correct.
You don't need a variance for medical grooming, you need a variance for grooming
General
that's
grooming.
more than just medical.
That's correct. And then part of that ambiguity is because there's no definition for veterinary care in the ordinance, which could potentially contemplate that, but that's a question left unanswered for us.
Yeah, because this says to permit medical grooming, but it's really just to permit grooming.
Right.
Correct. If you look at I can pull it up too, but if you look at the application itself, it doesn't say medical grooming, it says general grooming practice. I can,
It does say that I verified. It was an oversight on my end.
Yeah, that's okay.
okay, so
So
I
what
won't
you do,
read it
is there,
back,
are the
but-
grooming services now, and you're just trying to get the things lined up?
Yeah, so the background on that is that as part of veterinary being previously the approved use here in good faith over the years through previous owners, they have been doing grooming services. And because we've identified this ambiguity, that brings us here to make sure that we're crossing T's and dotting I's, and to make sure that the best vehicle is now a variance, but basically the salient point of this application is that grooming has been ongoing, and that is going to speak a lot to sort of the impact and the other criteria, which I can quickly kind of work through here for purposes of the variance itself.
But the lack of a definition of veterinary care could contemplate grooming as a part of veterinary care.
That could be correct, but the way that we're reading the ordinance and the way planning read the ordinance is that the best categorization of grooming fits under that definition of kennel, because that's the only time grooming is used as a word in the ordinance itself.
So, but what, if it's been ongoing, what specifically caused you to come, just guilty conscience? You wanted
Cross
to...
T's, dot I's.
I wouldn't say it was guilty conscience. I would say it's more so something that came up recently, been corresponding with planning because there's been some clarifications needed for purposes of parking, the number of
unrelated, and they said,
employees.
oh, by the way...
Yeah, sort of, right? Like this was ongoing in the business, and then it was like, hey, we just wanted to clarify because now that we're having some attorneys look at this, and now that we're looking at it, we're noticing this weird thing about grooming, and then we got the clarifying email saying, well, no, grooming is part of a kennel, but we do agree that you could do boarding and grooming for your patients that's medically necessary. which is sort of an interesting distinction, so that's what brings us here.
Crossing Ts and dotting Is, I appreciate that.
So for purposes of the criteria, I'll try to work through these quickly, but so for purposes of granting this modification, it wouldn't be contrary to the public interest. This modification allows the existing business to continue the broader scope of services for animals without any changes to the existing structure. There's not going to be any physical expansion, and there's no anticipated impact. The business model here has been the folks that are being accepted for any grooming services are actually current clients and patients of the animal hospital itself. They're already coming for care, and so they're basically saying, I will do more here. So we're not anticipating any additional impact. So any additional patrons would be accommodated by the combination of already existing infrastructure. This is also consistent with the spirit of the zoning ordinance. It allows the practice to continue to serve the purpose of both curative and preventative care for animals without any additional impact to the general public or the characteristics of the neighborhood. Substantial justice would also be done here. Allowing the grooming services to continue would be of better service to the community, and the detriment of then disallowing the ongoing grooming services from continuing would be significant to the landowner as opposed to the benefit for the public. We don't expect, again, any surrounding property values to diminish. Nothing is changing here. We're simply looking for the board to approve that this is contemplated or is now part and approved as the use through a variance. For purposes of hardship, this, again, arises from the idea that as part of a previously approved variance, this property now has an existing veterinary hospital that, with no change to its infrastructure or impact footprint or what have you, could be doing these grooming services and is doing them, but would be disallowed because there's ambiguity in the ordinance. Sorry, let me make sure I hit everything here.
Maybe you can help them quiet that dog.
Yeah.
He's been going all night.
Apparently he
Yes,
wants
we
to
might need
speak
to
in
get him in
favor,
for a
I'm not sure.
haircut. Yeah, so again, because of the past granted variance, this property is uniquely situated to offer these kinds of services and has the parking facilities, necessary outdoor space surrounding the building, and there's been no pushback, and nor do we anticipate pushback from the community at large on this issue. I'm happy to take any additional questions from the board.
Questions?
No.
I mean, in your experience, it's pretty common for vets to also offer grooming services, right? Like while the patient's there. Is that
I
fair
get
to
my
say?
dog's nails
Yeah.
cut off every time he goes to
Yeah.
the vet. Because he's already there.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for your time.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone who wishes to be heard in opposition to it? Any comments from the planning department?
No.
With that, we'll declare the public testimony portion of the hearing closed, and I will invite Mr. Winters to give us his thoughts on grooming versus veterinary care versus whatever else might this be classified as.
Way out of my yeah, I think it's totally reasonable. I mean, the one thing that occurs to me is if, I mean, I think I think what they were getting at in the application was the grooming is related to pets who are there for medical reasons. I think I wouldn't want to see the variance extended to become a primarily a grooming or a grooming only facility. But I think that they're, you know, by the application and the representations today, it's limited to adjacent services, not the grooming being the primary services. So with that understanding, I'm in favor, because it's a natural service that would be provided at the same time that probably almost all vets do.
Mr. Monahan?
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess we're here because staff was pouring through the activity at the. Yeah, I think that this it offers some clarity to the business activity relative to the ordinance. So I appreciate the applicant coming in and straightening things out so that things are aligned.
So, I agree, and I think we have to be careful when we read granting the motion, because this says for medical grooming. We need to make sure this is for non-medical grooming. You know, when we read it, or just say grooming and
Just say
take out the
grooming.
word
Just say
medical.
grooming. Yep.
Mr. Walter?
No additional comments.
Nor do I have any additional comments. Would anyone care to make a motion about non-medical grooming?
I move to grant the variance from section 28-2 for J and 8 allowable principal uses in zoning districts to permit a commercial kennel for grooming, not medical, where the use is permitted on tax map 8722Z lot 16, located at 37 Ironworks in the single-family residential district, because all of the criteria under RSA 674-33 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's findings of fact.
Is there a second?
Second.
Can I, just to be clear, I don't think you should have said grooming non-medical, because that would suggest they couldn't do medical grooming, so if you just left it as grooming.
Sorry, yeah, grooming, any grooming. Is that
grooming?
Yeah, just grooming.
Just grooming.
Let
I'm
the
voting for
record
just grooming.
show.
Just grooming, yeah.
And did we have a second? We did.
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion about just grooming? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. The variance is granted. That brings us to 4.1. What was that?
So that was a rough one.
Oh.
Oh, I had no idea you had such good dad jokes.
And that was on TV. You said that. Alex Holmes, on behalf of ZIBV Properties LLC, requests variances from allowable principal and accessory uses in zoning districts to allow for manufacturing and fabrication for the proposed filtration and water spray assembly equipment business, where the uses are prohibited at 70 Pembroke Road in the Opportunity Corridor Performance District.
Good evening. Matt Johnson on behalf of SC Industrial Sales, Alex Holmes.
Swear to tell the truth.
We do.
Thank you very much. Carry on.
Sorry about that. Matt Johnson, Divine Melmet on behalf of SC Industrial Sales. They are the lessee in the 70 Pembroke Road space. The board already granted a similar use variance for a similar other tenant in March and did so earlier this meeting. I'm happy to go through all the details. I thought it might be just pertinent, given the late hour, to touch on the fact that this is for fabrication of filtration and water systems. It is only business to business. The tenant occupies 2,500 square feet. All of the work is done indoors. There's 1 or 2 trucks that pick up equipment in the back loading docks once or twice a week. It is not open on the weekends. There is no retail operations that are undertaken. Mr. Holmes will be the only person in the building working on the space. So we believe it is consistent with the other variances that have been granted. There's no residential impact. There's no additional traffic impact. There's no health and safety impact. The work is all going to be done indoors, and it's limited just to fabricating some water systems and filtration systems. The ZJBV, the owner of the property, has both signed a lease and approved us seeking a variance for the use that he signed a lease for. So again, this is another example that the owner is on board and supportive of the application for the variance, and this is how he is currently tenanting out the building, even though it's different than what he, I think, originally contemplated, but appears to have moved on to it. So if the board has questions, I'm happy to go through the variance factors, and specifically if the board wants it, but this is a tenanted use for property that's sort of uniquely set up to be to handle this type of space. It was attractive to my client because it has high industrial power capacity, and it also has a loading dock, and so it's just not the type of property that you see very often, but it's well suited for this type of very light industrial, bring a little bit more manufacturing back to Concord, which I submit is a good thing. So unless the board has questions, we'll rest on that and and let
Does,
the board get to it.
Does all the activity take place indoors?
It does, yep.
And there's no outdoor storage of materials or?
No, there's a trailer and a truck is the only thing outside, just for local pickups from various suppliers. Building owner's been pretty clear about trying to limit the amount of outdoor work and any material storage or anything that would impact the kind of the visibility in the building, away from what it is currently.
So when you complete an order, you just ship it out to your customer?
Just ship it out to the customer typically. An LTL truck will come in, we'll load it up, and it'll go out in a shipping box.
Very good. Other questions from the board? Okay.
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here who wishes to be heard in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone here who wishes to be heard in opposition? Any comments from planning? Nope. Mr. Wallner, let's start with you. I'm declaring the hearing closed.
I think because of the multi-use in that facility, that I think this fits in just fine.
Yeah, I agree. We may want to start setting up a separate agenda for 70 members.
Well, if he gets it rented out, we won't have to do this anymore.
Maybe we should just have a special meeting and all go there.
Yeah, why not? Mr. Winters, any thoughts?
I agree. I mean, just for the record, we heard a somewhat, not identical, but a somewhat similar case earlier this evening. So I appreciate the attorney consolidating because he had already spoken and we heard, similar reasoning and I think it applies here as well. So I don't think we have to, go on about it.
Ms. Perkins?
I agree.
I agree with her ditto. Would anyone care to make a motion?
I will, I just don't have it in front of me.
I could do it. I move to grant the variance from section 28-2-4 JL1 to allow a manufacturing and fabrication use at tax map 632Z, lot 8770 Pembroke Road in the Opportunity Quarter Performance District because all of the criteria under RSA 674-33 have been met based on the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's findings of fact.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Anyone opposed? The variance is granted. You're all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The next case, 4.11, Jordan Wilhelm requests a variance from the side yard setback table of dimensional standards to allow for a side setback of 5 feet where 10 feet is required at 8 K Street in the neighborhood residential RN district. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but?
I do.
May we have your names for the record, please?
Sassy Helgeson.
Jordan Wilhelm.
What would you like us to know?
So we are here, we are requesting to build up to add an additional bedroom on top of the existing family room of our home. Currently above our family room and the screen porch, we have a flat rubber roof. Earlier this year, that flat roof started leaking into the family room. We've had an architect out and a local contractor come up with a plan, which we have attached there, to build up on the existing structure and build a master bedroom with a deck over the current porch that is there, instead of simply replacing the failing rubber roof. And we need a variance because our house was built in 1926 and is already constructed about 5.5 feet back into the setback where the ordinance requires 10 feet. For the application, granting the variance would not be contrary to the public interest because the addition is being built on the existing structure. It will not impact surrounding properties as the build will be straight up and will run flush. The new build will not exceed beyond the structure that is already in place. And if the variance were granted, the spirit of the ordinance would still be observed because the ordinance, or because it will be no further into the setback than the current structure already is. And building up the structure does not cause harm. It allows us to follow our dreams, to have an additional bedroom and safe structure while removing the failing rubber roof, which requires dangerous snow removal each year by climbing up on top of the roof after every storm. This addition,
There was a previous deck that was built up there before we bought the house, and I think it was torn down in the late 90s. So it's just been a flat rubber roof since about 2000. We purchased the house 2.5 years ago. So since we lived there, it's just been a flat rubber roof. And as she said, every time it snows, I have to go up there and clean it off. And when we did buy the house, there was a plan. Just we're hoping for longer that the roof would last, but.
it was kind of a dream we had, and then the roof started leaking. So now the dream has escalated.
Now your dream has to come true.
Yeah, we gotta do it now,
Yeah.
or pay a significant amount of money to just fix the flat roof. And, yeah.
Well, it'd be like a third of the cost, so it just kind of makes sense to, instead of, doing a new roof, to rip it up in, 3 or 4 years, to just try to do it all at once.
Get a bedroom out of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many bedrooms is the house now?
It's currently 3 bedrooms. It's 1.5 bathrooms as well. I think it's, 1,700
Are you
square
adding a
feet.
bath too, or you're just adding a bedroom?
Just a bedroom. It would just be a bedroom and 2 closets.
2 closets, and then the deck will be over the porch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
Can I just finish reading?
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
addition would add value to our home and potentially the neighborhood by increasing local sales prices if we were to sell. The build would not affect the appearance of any of the surrounding homes. And as far as the hardship, the existing residence was constructed in 1926, long before current zoning regulations requiring the 10-foot side setback. The home is legally non-conforming with respect to the setback, and the existing structure is located approximately, I think you said it's 5.5 feet from the property line already. And the proposed project consists of constructing a master bedroom addition directly above the existing footprint rather than expanding or going any further into the setback. And the proposed use is reasonable because the structure is existing and built long before current code restrictions, and the new structure will not exceed existing structure or impede any further into the setback.
Any questions from the board? Thank you very much. The record will show that there is no one here to testify in favor or in opposition. Any comments from planning office? No comments from planning. That closes the public portion of the hearing. Maybe I'll start this one at random with Mr. Monahan.
Yeah, no, I think this, I'm inclined to approve it. It is on the existing footprint of the house, and it's kind of existing nonconformity, not creating any new nonconformity.
Mr. Waller.
He took the words right out of my mouth.
Good. Mr. Winters.
Yeah, I agree. It's flush, so there's no additional, and I think I was looking on the tax map, I don't think they said, but the current house is 1,500 square feet, 1,540 square feet of living area, so I think adding a bedroom is a reasonable use to, expand some living area to a single-family house.
Ms. Perkins.
I think their dream should come true.
It's very seldom true that the zoning board can grant dreams coming true. This is Walt Disney's very own zoning board here. I also agree with my colleagues, dreams notwithstanding. Would anyone care to make a motion?
Okay.
I move to grant the variance from section 28-4-1D3 and 28-4-1H to allow a side setback of 5 feet where 10 feet is required at tax map 392Z, lot 103 at 8 K Street in the neighborhood residential district, because all the criteria under RSA 674-33 have been met based upon the record before us, and I move to adopt the applicant's proposed findings as the board's findings of fact.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The vote is unanimous. Enjoy your new bedroom. And your dry family room. We
Enter
we
new
s-
payment.
we still have an overhang here. There was one case that we did not hear because there was no one here to present it. What we have done in the past when that's happened is we've,
Well, we have one person in the audience.
Are you here for?
oh,
Yamas?
Are you here?
are you here for Yamas 4.2?
No, I'm here for Judd on 23 Linden Street.
Oh, we're not going to hear that tonight.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought, we did announce that earlier. Did you just arrive?
I've been here for about an hour or so.
I'm sorry about that, but the case is not going to be heard. The application was not complete.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
It was pushed off till next month, potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
In the case of Jake Duggan, on behalf of Yamas Creek Eatery, what we've done in the past, seems to work, is recess the case.
2 days, sir.
2 days certain.
My recollection is there have been instances when we've heard the case.
There have. We did it because there was a bunch of people here who come to.
Yeah.
That's not the case tonight. My personal preference would be to let Mr. Duggan or whoever come back and make their own case instead of trying to invent one for them.
Right.
He's done
Yeah,
that.
I think if, I agree, I think if, like, on a case by case, if there were people who would come and set the time aside, then I'd, be less inclined, but since no one's here, the record can show no one has come, then I don't think it's causing any harm to delay.
Would I care to make a motion to,
Are we, not that, can we decide a case just based upon the written record that's before us?
we have done
We
it.
have. I mean, I think with the Walmart, my memory is Walmart had a pretty very minor sign issue. They didn't
do you
show
know,
up
is this,
and we granted it.
is this to make an existing sign conforming, or are they changing the signage?
They just came before architectural design review yesterday and they did not show up for that. It was because they want to have a blade sign and that also they already have a non-permitted sign on the 45-degree
All right, so
angle.
it's kind of complicated.
That doesn't sound cookie cutter.
And architectural design review denied the blade sign and made some modifications, and those modifications are gonna go before a planning board, but they don't have.
This sign would be to allow for, the variance request is
Yeah, okay.
specifically just for an additional 14 square feet of signage.
Right. They did present in their file a rendering of a sign on a 45-degree angle.
But there was some discussion yesterday about some changes that were gonna be made to the one that's at the 45 because it's in a square right now, and architectural design review wants it to be in a circle, and it has to be, I think, 8 inches showing of the brick, so it could be that they might not necessarily need the variance, depending on what happens once they make those modifications.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to recess this case to,
September meeting?
yeah, September
I
meeting?
move that we recess the case until the September meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, now, what else? Is there any more business, other business that we need to deal with?
Approve the minutes.
Oh, yes, the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? And I guess unless Kirsten has anything else for us, that's it. All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
What is September?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No one is opposed.